Hi, I'm Beth Grazer, Communications Officer for the Hillsboro School District. Today, we'd like to make sure middle and high school families and students know their options for the remainder of the school year, and for those who elect to return to an in-person experience, what a typical day will look like. Students who are currently enrolled in Hillsboro Online Academy will remain at HOA for the rest of this school year. Students who are currently engaged in comprehensive distance learning through their homeschool will have two options. They can remain in CDL full-time, or they can participate in hybrid instruction. Because our middle school students have been organized into teams, they will be allowed to return to campus 2 days per week. Mondays and Thursdays for students whose last names begin with A through L, and Tuesdays and Fridays for students whose last names begin with M through Z. Wednesdays will remain asynchronous comprehensive distance learning days as they are now. At the high school level, there are far more course options for students, which doesn't allow the type of teaming we see at middle schools. Because the Oregon Department of Education's Ready Schools Safe Learners guidance requires that students do not interact with more than 100 other people in the course of a week, most high school students will only be able to come to campus 1 day per week. Mondays for students with last names beginning with A through E, Tuesdays for M through R, Thursdays for F through L, and Fridays for S through Z. Wednesdays will remain asynchronous comprehensive distance learning days as they are now. The alphabetical division was done this way in hopes of better aligning the schedules of families with children at various levels throughout our K-12 system. For students who need extra support and/or for those who wouldn't be exceeding their maximum allowable non-family contacts over the course of the week, we may be able to add a second on-campus day. Those decisions will be made and communicated on a case-by-case basis. Now, let's follow some students through the course of their day to see what things will look like. We're at a high school today, but the flow will be similar between the two levels. Some students will ride the bus to school, while others will provide their own transportation to school. In all cases, parents will be asked to evaluate their child's health each day before sending or taking them to school. If they are exhibiting a fever, cough, or any of the other symptoms in the Too Sick for School flyer, they need to keep their child at home. Their child can engage in CDL if they feel well enough, even if they are supposed to be attending in person that day. Upon boarding the bus, the driver will ask the student how they are feeling. If the student seems to be doing well, they will be asked to sit in the first available seat with an X nearest the rear of the bus. Only siblings or members of the same household can sit together on the bus. Otherwise, only one child per seat is allowed. Upon arrival at the school, the students will line up on pavement markers or at cones provided to keep them appropriately spaced. This will most likely take place near the front entrance only at middle schools and at Hill High, and at multiple locations at the other high schools to accommodate students arriving by bus and car. School-specific videos and communication will provide more details on arrival plans. Students will then receive a health screening, which will include a touch-free temperature scan of their forehead and a general question about how they're feeling. When it's time to enter the building, students will use hand sanitizer and follow the instructions of the adults around them to proceed to their classroom, keeping their hands to themselves and maintaining appropriate spacing. Please note that all students and staff are expected to wear a face mask at all times, except when they are eating, taking an approved mask break in a designated location, or if they have a medical condition that necessitates accommodation. Students will arrive in their classroom and place their belongings in a designated location. Then they will take their seat, which has 6 feet of space all around it. The teacher will most likely be teaching some students in person and some students remotely in an interactive live stream model that includes both direct instruction and independent or group work time. The students who are attending remotely will often be projected on a screen or visible within Google Meet, so their classmates who are attending in person can see them. Students will attend each of the 4 classes they currently attend synchronously through comprehensive distance learning. Classes will be 40 minutes long at the middle school level and 45 minutes long at the high school level. Students will also have an advisory period. 5 minutes are provided for standing, stretching, and transitioning between periods. Students are to go straight to their next class during the transition period using the flow patterns marked by arrows on the floor and maintaining appropriate spacing from one another. If they need to use the restroom, they will first need to sign out of their class. This will allow for more accurate contact tracing in the event of a COVID-19 case. Students will have access to breakfast they can eat at school and a grab-and-go lunch, and will be given plenty of opportunities to wash or sanitize their hands throughout the day. It's important to note that schools are still warm and inviting places where students will socialize with one another and receive the types of social-emotional supports that just aren't possible in a CDL model. We are committed to engaging and connecting with students while following all recommended health and safety guidelines. If a student begins to feel sick during the course of the school day, they will be sent to the office to be evaluated. Each school will have an isolation room for students who are exhibiting signs or symptoms of possible COVID-19 or other communicable diseases. They will be supervised by an adult and wait in the isolation room until they are picked up by a parent or guardian, unless they are able to drive themselves home. If your child is sent home from the isolation room with COVID-19-like symptoms, instructions will be given to you on next steps and when your student can return to school. If a classroom cohort has one or more individuals test positive for COVID-19, families will be notified. Next steps will be based on consultation with the district nurse team and Washington County Public Health. Specific individuals and possibly the entire cohort may need to revert to CDL for up to 14 days. If a school has multiple cohorts that are impacted by COVID-19, the entire school may need to revert to CDL for up to 14 days. Specifics of each circumstance would be determined as they arise. We know there are likely many more questions, but hopefully this video has provided you with the basics of what to expect from a return to campus experience at our secondary schools. Additional information will be provided over the coming weeks, both from the district level and from your school principal. Any family not enrolled in Hillsboro Online Academy is asked to respond to a brief survey regarding their plans for their student, either to remain strictly in CDL or to engage in the hybrid model. Your timely response to that survey is essential to our planning process. Thank you very much for your support and partnership over the course of the year. We know it's been difficult, but your perseverance and resilience are inspiring. For additional information, please see the 2020-21 school year page of our website. Thank you.